Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. This is Red Dissection and we're breaking down Manchester United last minute thrilling victory against Wolves at Molyneux. Manchester United started off the match like a house on fire. They created loads of opportunities, scored 2 goals, could have scored even more, should have scored at least 4 goals, missed 3 big chances in the first half. But in the second half, history repeated itself. The same capitulation we have seen against the likes of Copenhagen, Galatasaray twice in the Champions League happened. Also, the same thing happened against Newport County, the League Two side in the FA Cup in the fourth round. So this has become a pattern for United. In the second half, United didn't appear at all. They had few chances on counter-attacks, but it was dominated by Wolves. They had all the ball. They had all the momentum going forward. Casemiro gave away a dubious penalty. I don't think it was a penalty. I don't think there was enough of touch. But if you touch your opponent in the box, you give away that the benefit of the doubt. And the referee, it's the call for the referee to make, and he made it. And it was given on field, so I don't think VAR would have overturned it anyway. But United brought on McTominay. He scored another. So United went back, regained their two-goal lead. But true to form, United conceded 2 late goals, one from counter-attack, one from set piece. The same frailty showed up. Onana was abysmal. Any shot on a goal seems to be a goal nowadays, especially with Onana. That was terrible. The defending on the counter-attack for the third goal, especially in the 95th minute, was terrible and really unprofessional. We considered on the side of Luke Shaw again. But it was the moment for young Kobie Mainoo to rise up to the challenge. Come at the hour, come at the man. He became a man today, and that is sensational goal, the sensational winner, which certainly lift the club up, will certainly lift the team up because they did play well in the first half. And that man, Kobie Mainoo, have started his rise to fame. I thought that he has been a little uninspiring for the last 3-4 matches, but this goal, especially playing in that near the box of the opponents, he scored now twice in 2 matches, and this probably is the goal of the season for me. Even better than Garnacho's because of the occasion, because of what it meant for the entire team. This should give United a fillip before they receive West Ham on the weekend in the Premier League. Coming to statistics, obviously Wolves had the majority of the possession in the second half. They had the similar shots on target, little less short of target. We were not clinical, to be honest. Haaland did score one, but he was so wasteful in the first half. Even in the second half, he missed a guilty opportunity. Bruno Fernandes was wasteful. Garnacho was atrocious, even though our midfield and backline did play really well, especially Kobie Mainoo. Casemiro was all right as well. Defensively, Casemiro is suspect. He got an early yellow card, was caught on certain counter-attacks, and he gave away the penalty. So that's a concern. That is a concern that won't go away. Rashford had a good first half, even though he was a little wasteful. But in the second half, he disappeared. The substitution, apart from McTominay, who scored, were atrocious. I think Ten Hag actually gave away the momentum to Wolves and brought on the likes of Maguire and Evans and just decided to hold on to the slender lead. Ten Hag made some terrible substitution, being on Forson and Anthony before Ahmad when he's on the bench. Also, he brought in Johnny Evans in the 90th minute. I don't know the reason behind it because we didn't have any threat up front. Forson was terrible. He was playing out of position. He was playing as a striker. Anthony was terrible. We just had no out as Garnacho, Rashford, Haaland were all substituted. The pressure showed and we caved in and conceded the third goal and equalizer at that time. So I think Ten Hag really did get away with it. I think the last gasp winner from Mainoo will paper over the cracks quite a bit. It'll paint over the crap that we saw in the second half and the kind of familiar capitulation we've been seeing. But all in all, 3 points are 3 points, and we move on to West Ham on the week. Coming to ratings, Onana, again a terrible performance. He can't save anything. He was, even before he conceded the goals, he was not able to handle the ball. He made a couple of fumbles, but obviously wasn't punished at that time. But all 3 goals, I thought that he didn't even come near to making a good save. I think the second goal, the Kilman one, he should have saved. The third one, he didn't even make a dive. The first one, the penalty was stayed down the middle. I think it was a terrible performance for Onana. Diogo Dalot started off brightly. I think his link up with Garnacho was fine. I think he was better off than Garnacho in terms of attacking threat on the right-hand side. Sometimes he was also inverting, but most of the time he was on the outside, and he did have a good game, to be honest. Even defensively in the first half, he was fine, but in the second half, he looked afraid of Cunha's pace, and Wolves had more momentum going forward. So he couldn't make that many runs in the second half, but overall a decent performance. Rafael Varane was solid. I think on the third goal, the Neto one, you could fault him for not covering the angle, but I think Onana should have at least dived for that one, and he could have saved that. But overall, his game was solid, nothing spectacular. He wasn't a threat from set pieces, but overall a decent game. Lisandro is back. I think this was a match that really showed what he brings to the team. He looked confident on the ball with his physicality as well, but unfortunately he went off injured. Seems like not a major setback, but we'll have to wait and watch because it was on his foot as well, which he has gotten injured twice in the last year. So we wait and see for that. Luke Shaw was decent in the first 20-25 minutes until we went 2-0 up. Game slacking off like he usually does. And eventually in the second half, he was terrible. I think he just lacks fitness. He lacks concentration. He's not a top-notch left back anymore. I don't think he ever was, because he doesn't have the concentration to give everything for the 90 minutes. I think we got away with it. Teams know to target Luke Shaw, especially as we move further into the match, because we know that he just gasses out. It was typical Luke Shaw performance where he slips off into the second half and finishes off badly in games. Casemiro was a mixed bag. I think he got an early yellow card, which certainly would have played on his mind, because he has already gotten 3 red cards in his United career. Uh, his passing was all right. I think he got better after the yellow card because he was making some good interceptions. But obviously, he doesn't have the pace, and on counter attacks, there is always a threat that he'll mistime a tackle because he goes to the ground very easily. Even for the yellow card, there was no need to go to the ground so early on into the match, and that counter attack was quite a distance away from our goal anyway. So that was a bad decision for him. I think he's getting back into the rhythm of thing. Could have scored twice, one certainly in the first half. So I thought it was a mixed bag. Hopefully, with this 3 points secured, he can get back into the swing of things and have a better performance on the weekend. Kobie Mainoo, the star man, over the entirety of the match, he was decent. Nothing spectacular. He wasn't involved in terms of the attacking patterns, but he was composed on the ball like he usually is. I think this is a talent that has been touted, and it was certainly on the stage for everybody to see. I think there was a sensational winner. I think his stock has skyrocketed overnight. We already knew that he had that physicality, that kind of poise on the ball, but to have that deadly finish, classy finish at the end of a slalom run was exceptional. I think he was the man of the match. Alejandro Garnacho was disappointing. I thought he struggled with the wing backs. Dirty doesn't have too much pace, but he struggled to, get past him. When Rashford went off, surprisingly, he didn't switch to the left hand side and he stayed on the right hand side. I think he could have gotten an assist for that Hoyland chance in the second half. But overall, he just lacks polish, and it wasn't a good performance from Garnacho. Bruno Fernandes is wasteful. He did start a few counter attacks, especially in the first half, but that's his game. He throws around the ball like 100 times a match and connects like 15. So when we get the goal, like he made a good dummy for the first goal, was involved in the second goal as well. So you do understand what he brings to the table, especially when we are playing on the counter attack. But overall, he's just too wasteful, and he just lacks the physicality, and is almost a burden in midfield when we are counter attacked. So it was a typical Bruno performance, but at least he was more involved in creating those goals, and the 3 points in the end will give him more confidence as well. He got a goal in the FA Cup, so I hope that since the backline is back in action now and they play consistently together, inshallah, Bruno will also get better, and we see our form picking up slightly. But obviously, the matches against West Ham and Aston Villa will show us whether this was a fluke like we've seen in the Champions League, or can we have a sustained run of form. Marcus Rashford started off brilliantly. I thought the finish was clinical. It was exceptional. He was also involved in the second goal. Played the pre-assist to Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw was overlapping quite a lot in this match, so Rashford was in his elements. I thought that he could have been more better in terms of decision making. Especially, he had Semedo in trouble quite often in the first half, but his end product still lagged a bit. But I think he'll get confidence from that goal, and because we didn't end up finishing the match with 3 points, I think we'll give Rashford a fillip as well. Get straight back into the team and score that goal. I think all that controversy and the off-field stuff can easily be, can easily be brushed off now. And over the last month, I think he's gotten a few goals, so that should give him more confidence. And I think we should see a more confident Rashford on the weekend. Rasmus Højlund got the goal. He was good in patches. He was strong in terms of holding up the ball for his midfield runners and wingers. He got them involved, but I think he's not consistent even through 90 minutes or even through a half. He just lacks that the calmness in front of goal. He had another great opportunity in the second half to score. And even for the first goal which Rashford scored, I thought he messed up that chance. He could have taken the shot on his own, but eventually he did get an assist, so we won't hold it against him. I think he can do a lot better. I don't think a scruffy goal can wipe over his deficiencies and the kind of flaws that his game still possesses. He's still young. I just hope that since he scored in 2 consecutive matches, that he can build on this and move forward and get another against West Ham, if not more, and just build on this confidence. Substitutions were terrible. Starting with Anthony, he didn't contribute anything to the match. He was terrible. And he was playing on the left flank. I didn't understand that at all. He hasn't played that since he's arrived at Old Trafford. Even in Ajax days, he didn't play there much. Just he doesn't have that physicality, the pace to go past anybody. And on the left hand side, he certainly needs to do that because he can't cut inside on his left foot. I thought he just lacked sharpness and that quickness of feet and the positional awareness, especially on counterattacks. He could have, slipped in few players and get a couple of opportunities. I thought it was a terrible performance from Anthony. Scott McTominay got on the pitch and straight away got the third goal for United. He was decent on a couple of counterattacks, but we know that he's just not positionally aware. He just looked more porous when he came onto the pitch. We seem to be void of any kind of positional structure, just hold off counterattacks from Wolves, and he was certainly a part of it. Obviously, you know his physicality, he has decent amount of pace, and he's good. He's a good finisher, and he did finish his chance in terms of the corner. But overall, his game is just not good enough for this team and for this club. Omari Forson was clueless. He was in no man's land. He was playing as a striker. I just couldn't understand that, and I thought he was a sacrificial lamb. I think Eric Ten Hag is just petty and vindictive, and I think he's just holding it against Ahmad to bring on Forson for no particular reason. When you have the likes of Ahmad, and he did play well when he came on against Nottingham Forest, I think he's just a bully, and I won't hold it against Forson. I thought that it was a terrible substitution from the manager. Maguire came on for Lisandro Martinez, who went off injured. I didn't think that it was too serious, but and hopefully, inshallah, he can play on the weekend. Maguire was all right. Obviously, we know what he lacks. He lacks pace, and on the counter attack, he's just useless, and that was exposed, especially on the third goal. We know what his game is and what his game lacks. And if Martinez is out on the weekend, I just hope that Evans can come in on the left hand side of the partnership, centre back partnership, and Varane retains his position in the team. Johnny Evans came on very late. He didn't have much to do. Obviously, on the counter attack, he's just of no use because he doesn't have any pace to cover up that distance and those gaps. He didn't have any time to make any kind of impact on the game. It's a mixed bag. Eric Ten Hag, I just don't know what to rate him. Obviously, we started off really well. It was one of our better performances in the league, especially. I think the most impressive performance, apart from Chelsea, I think. And it's not his fault that we don't take our chances and just let teams back into the match. But this is a pattern. In the second half, after his team talks, we just start off so slovenly. I mean, so slovenly. We just lack that kind of killer instinct. And it comes down from the manager, that kind of mindset that players get complacent all the time. Even with a 2 goal lead, we have, I think, lost 2 goal leads like 4 or 5 times this season. So that's a pattern now and a systemic problem. Obviously, his substitutions are diabolical. McTominay was a fluke, I thought. He got the goal, but I never bring in McTominay for anybody. Obviously, Casemiro conceded the penalty, so Ten Hag might have been worried about him getting the red card. But the likes of Forson, the likes of Anthony, even the likes of Johnny Evans at the end, which just erased any kind of threat we had up front. I think that was a terrible move and a terrible substitution for Eric Ten Hag. So he gets a low score again. I think there are a lot of positives to take on from this match and go into the weekend with a better frame of mind for us and bit more confidence than we have had over the last 2 or 3 months. I thought we played some good football in the first half. In the second half, also we had opportunities, but we just lacked control in midfield in the second half. That is something that we need to correct and rectify because we just let teams come back into the matches even with 2 goal leads. So we need to work on that and just rectify those. Of course, in front of goal, we have to be clinical. I think Højlund can get a lot more goals. Now we're creating chances. He just needs to be calm in the box and be composed. Rashford has gotten a few goals, so he should be more confident now. Obviously, Garnacho is not consistent. I'd rather play him than Anthony, who just looks lost at this club right now. In all honesty, Ahmad should play on that flank easily above those two any day of the week and twice on Sunday, which will be the match against West Ham. So join us for that on the Red Prep Show. We'll bring you all the build-up and tactical analysis for the match on the Red Prep Show for the West Ham match. Please join us for that. Until then, take care, do good, pray for Palestinians and all the oppressed people all across the globe. Assalamu alaikum.